You know that weird feeling when you walk into a room and get instant déjà vu, but you can't figure out why? Well, get ready for that, because today we're exploring a digital space that is just packed with familiar pieces. It's a true marvel. Part collage, part history lesson, and it's even got a heartfelt tribute baked right in. So, let's get our shovels ready and start digging.
Okay, so take a good, long look at this. I know what you're thinking. Looks like a pretty standard Team Fortress 2 map, right? But look closer. Every single corner, every wall texture, every shadow here is telling a story from a different game. It's like a beautiful Frankenstein's monster of a map. The real question is, can you see the stitches? Can you spot where all the pieces come from?
So, this incredible creation has a name. CTF_residue processing. It was made by a super talented map maker who goes by Wazimagig. And what they've done here is create what's called a mashup map. It's exactly what it sounds like. They've borrowed bits and pieces from other games and stitched them together into something totally new. And for this one, they pulled from 3 of the biggest games Valve ever made.
So, the big question is, how on earth did they pull this off? Well, that's what we're here to find out. Think of this as a little digital archaeology expedition. We're going to break this map down piece by piece and trace its DNA right back to the source.
All right, first stop on our tour, we're firing up the time machine and heading all the way back to 1998. Yep, we're talking about the hallowed halls of the Black Mesa Research Facility. The foundation, the very bedrock of this map, is pure, classic, original Half-Life.
So let's start with the big picture, the outside area. You can just feel it, can't you? This huge, imposing dam, the rocky canyons, it's got that very specific kind of old-school industrial vibe. It just screams danger, like you're one wrong step away from a resonance cascade. And if you felt that, you were absolutely right. This entire outdoor area is a lovingly recreated high-definition version of the surface tension chapter from the original Half-Life. I mean, look at this. The creator basically lifted the whole layout, the scale, the design, and just gave it a fresh coat of paint for a modern engine. It's a perfect match. Okay, let's head inside now. Right in the middle of everything, you've got this huge, dark, and really treacherous pit. In TF2, it's just a big hazard you try not to fall into, right? But believe me, its original job was way, way more specific and a lot more sinister.
And this is where it gets really clever. Check this out. That pit? It's actually an underwater trap from the Unforeseen Consequences chapter in Half-Life. The mapmaker literally just pulled it out of the water, dried it off, and turned what was a hidden watery grave into this massive, open-air obstacle. What a brilliant idea. That's just fantastic game design.
And the attention to detail here is just off the charts. It's not just the big, flashy set pieces they recreated. Nope. Even something as small and simple as this dark, spooky, green-lit stairway is a direct callback.
Ah, yeah. Any Half-Life fan will recognize this immediately. This is pulled straight out of the legendary Office Complex chapter. I mean, for anyone who played the original, walking down these stairs in a TF2 match must feel like running into an old friend. Or, a ghost from a past life.
Okay, so we've covered the classic stuff. Now let's jump forward in time a bit. The next layer baked into this map comes straight from the world of Half-Life 2, and it brings a totally different vibe. We're talking urban decay and that oppressive dystopian feel.
As you start exploring the side routes, you'll notice the whole feel of the place changes. That old, chunky 90s concrete from Black Mesa, it suddenly gives way to these smooth, curved, brutalist tunnels. It's a completely different energy, isn't it? And if your brain immediately screamed Half-Life 2, you nailed it. These are those classic service tunnels you run through all over the place in City 17. The mapmaker's given them this spooky new green lighting, but the architecture, the bones of the place, totally unmistakable.
Now, one of the most memorable spots inside each base is this massive, imposing staircase. I mean, look at it. The cold tile, the harsh lighting. It feels very institutional, like a prison. It definitely wasn't built for a bunch of rowdy mercenaries, that's for sure.
And that's because it wasn't. This entire section is ripped straight out of Nova Prospekt. Yep, the high-security prison from Half-Life 2. So just think about that for a second. When you're running up these stairs trying to cap the intel, what you're really doing is storming one of the most infamous alien-run prisons in video game history. How cool is that? So, okay, we've got Half-Life, we've got Half-Life 2, but at the end of the day, this is a Team Fortress 2 map. It has to actually play like one. And that's where the final layer comes in.
The one that adds all the gameplay elements and iconic layouts that make it work.
You know, any good TF2 map needs a solid home base, right? That safe room where you respawn, grab some health, and get ready to jump back into the fight. And for TF2 players, the design of those spawn rooms is, well, it's practically sacred ground.
So what did Wasmagig do? They went with an absolute classic. These respawn rooms are pretty much direct copies from 2 Fort, arguably the most famous, most iconic TF2 map ever. Sure, they're darker, they've been retextured to fit the vibe, but that layout, the lockers, the benches, any TF2 player would recognize it in a heartbeat.
But it's not just the spawn rooms. The main interior layout itself, you know, the hallways that connect the big central area to the intelligence rooms, that also has a really familiar feel to it, especially if you've played a lot of TF2.
And there's a good reason for that. The core of the base is a tribute to another legendary map, Turbine. You can totally see how the creator took the basic layout of Turbine's middle section and intel room, but then they just slapped a whole new skin on it. Dark bricks, wood beams to make it fit in with that Half-Life look. It's a really smart way to blend iconic gameplay with a new visual style.
Okay, so we've peeled back all these layers, right? We've found pieces of Half-Life, Half-Life 2, and Team Fortress 2. But the single most important piece of this entire map, it isn't an old staircase or a familiar hallway. It's something much quieter, much more powerful, and it's been hidden in plain sight this whole time.
If you wander into a quiet little hallway, away from all the chaos and explosions, you'll find this on the wall. And at first glance, you might just dismiss it as some random map graffiti. But every single piece of this image has a very deep and very somber meaning.
This is a memorial. It's a beautiful Easter egg dedicated to Kitty0706, a really beloved creator in the TF2 animation community who sadly passed away on January 25, 2015. The code you see there, C91.0, is the actual medical code for acute lymphoblastic leukemia, which was the illness he fought so hard against. And that poster? We will not forget. It's a promise from the community, ensuring his memory will always live on inside the game he loves so much. It's an incredibly powerful and moving tribute.
So you see, this map is so much more than just a cool mashup of old games. It's a perfect example of how gaming communities can act as living museums, preserving their own history, celebrating their heroes, and building incredible new art from the pieces of the past. And it really makes you think, doesn't it? How many other forgotten worlds are out there, just waiting for someone creative enough to give them a second life?